Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of Lubrication Across the Nation, brought to you by DGP, Dynamic Green Products, bio-based and zero compromise. You can find all the information you need at changeyourOil.com. Today, I want to welcome my very special guest, Tristan McConnell with Lawn Express Lawn Care. How you doing, brother?
Pretty good, Russell. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me. And you are in the, well, I would say usually ever sunny Tampa, Florida area, except this year's been kind of weird, hasn't it?
For sure. Yeah, we had some cold flux this year that usually we don't have. So we've been fighting that, and a lot of these plants do not like it. But it's getting with the customers and making sure that they understand that you just leave it the way it is. Wait till spring. March 20th. That's our kickoff date here, and you can always that's when you trim them. Make sure if you do that scratch method, make sure they got the green underneath. Your plants are
Oh,
completely safe. So you just
yeah,
got to
for
teach
sure.
them those tips and tricks. Because once they see their leaves, I mean, it's like they panic.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah. Yeah. It's amazing that when that happens, when some weird freak snowstorm or whatever it may happen, or in your case, just colder weather happens, and people see what they see on the internet and all the, oh, you better check this and that, and they start losing it. But that's where you have
for
to be a good
sure.
steward of your clientele, right?
Absolutely, because it's their investment, right, at the end of the day, so and then whenever those leaves, like, fall over, that's its like, natural way of blanketing itself and covering itself and, like, wrapping up, so I always, like, highly recommend never to, like, trim that off. If we have a couple more cold snaps, just leave it on there, and it'll protect itself. That's what God intended it for it to be, so
Oh,
that's
totally.
what,
Yeah.
you gotta keep it that way.
Yeah. If you walk outside your house and it's cold outside, you don't put your arms straight out.
Nope, nope, yeah, you layer up, and that's exactly what the plant's naturally doing, so.
Yeah, for sure. Well, how long have you been doing the lawn care biz?
Oh, lawn care, probably 13, 14 years. Legally, been doing it for 10. I
Right.
started when I was like 14 years old, so couldn't really start a LLC back then. But just kind of always wanted to be ambitious as a child, right? So I would go out knocking all the doors. I'd use my dad's mower, push mow, push mow their yards, and just started making money. And I just never kind of stopped. I just always loved what I did. And I never really liked that 9 to 5. I worked at Publix for like 7 to 8 years. And it was just that repetitive, everything's the same every single
Yeah.
day. With lawn care, you're like taking before, during, and afters, you're seeing that progression. And that's really what kept me doing it. And then about 5, 6 years ago, I really took it serious, started building it pretty big. And now we just opened up our electric division. If anybody's been following the channel, they've been seeing fully electric lawn mowers by Gravely. So we got the 60-inch zero turns, the Pro Turn, the 60-inch standard. And then all Echo products, weed eaters, edgers, pole saws, backpack blowers, handheld blowers, you name it, all electric. So we're trying to do our part by just making sure that this world is a better place. And that's when me and you got in contact about, hey, let's make it an even
Yeah.
better place. And I was like, you flabbergasted. You're like, oh yeah, this is our version of WD-40. Didn't even know WD-40 was bad for the earth. So I was like, wow, this is something I use a lot, especially in the lawn care industry. So it's like definitely like finding out about your products made a difference for me because that's what we're going for. We're going all green, and that's just a better way to market it to our customers, as well as like, the sound of electric. There's no sound to it. So like if you have babies, stay-at-home moms, work from home calls, or maybe they're a reverse, maybe they're a nurse that works the overnight shift. So some of those customers are like the ones that are looking into like the electric companies, and I think that's like probably going to be one of the more modern things in the landscape company coming soon.
Oh, I think so too, especially with the new regulations out. Every day there's another state or another city. It's typically I see it starting. It's been starting more with the cities, and then it branches out. Into the other parts of the states. But there are states like I know Connecticut is looking at it recently, and then of course Portland, Oregon just passed one for banning backpack blowers here in like I think it's 28, I believe it
Yeah,
is. But
2028. I heard
so
that as well, and I was like, "That's like if those cities are already doing it now, like it's just time for when everybody else goes on that same train."
yeah,
So
absolutely. Now, when you said electric division is, so do you have a separate set that's going to do that, or is it going to be company wide eventually?
So right now we still have our gas customers that have just been on that forever. So that's currently running as it is. And then now I'm opening a new branch as an electric division. So now my customers will have the option. Oh, I don't really care about the electric. We can run gas. Okay, perfect. I can get them on that schedule. But the ones that want to be a little bit more quieter, a little bit more earth friendly, that one was going to be on this route. And then they can kind of have their options. And like, for instance, actually today, for instance, I picked up the Marriott Hotel. And
Nice.
so yeah, so we picked him up, and then I was telling him about the EV, and he's like, "Dude, that's awesome because we're a hotel. We have guests sleeping at all times."
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
literally, and then when you go into competition with other landscapers, that's what could set you apart. Is you're getting the same quality with a quieter cut. And that right there is something that a lot of people like. Plus the emissions. If I'm sitting there clearing out a Marriott backpack blower, you're gonna have a lot of exhaust in your front entryways. All your guests are gonna be smelling it. So that's another huge selling point to like huge commercial businesses, etc. Just in that instance. So
Well,
that's
they
been working out.
and the health of us as operators, right? We always kind of
Absolutely.
think of ourselves last when it comes to things like that, whether it's PPE or, and part of that being the hearing side of things, but we don't think about ingesting all of those fumes and, the toxins and that part of it. And that's, running the backpack blowers. I mean, it's hard to get away from, or trimmers for that matter, where you're going up, like, holding them up and it's right there in your face. So
Yeah. So like today I did literally probably 300 bushes all the way around the Marriott, and I did it with a handheld hedge trimmer, electric, fully electric. So I breathed in nothing. But as like, if I'm standing here and I got the handheld, the engine's right here, that exhaust is piping at you. I did it what, 5 hours? 5 hours today. So I mean 5 hours of straight exhaust, your
yeah,
lungs really would have felt that. So
yeah,
that's as an operator as well, it's very beneficial to me. And then obviously you're going to have those people, oh, well, they use the fossil fuels to get the batteries. Well, I love that for you, but as an operator, I don't have to personally smell exhaust anymore. So, there's got to be a fine line. And I think that electric is going to be the new modern for landscaping. And I'm
for sure.
excited to see where it's going to go.
Well, and it's the tech has come so far in such a short amount of time. I mean, this time, 10 years ago, people were like, "Oh yeah, it's a fad. It's not gonna stick around." And but it's interesting because all the same people talking about that, even nowadays, saying the same thing. Now, if you look at if you were to look at their garage or their shop and look at all their tools, they've got all
They have,
handheld tools that are battery
they,
powered. Like what?
they got electric in there, I promise. And one of the tools I just got is a chainsaw, and I'm sure you've seen it all over my page. But literally, there's no more cutting it on, cutting it off, pulling it while like when you're up in a tree. None of it's just on, go, and it's simplistic. The only thing you got to do is put the bar and chain oil by DGP would be awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's so much easier and it's better for the user, and you're not fighting with that. You don't have to mess with the spark plugs or their oil to mix ratio or none of that. It eliminates everything, and the batteries are actually pretty good. The longevity on them, like I can probably do an entire palm tree with half of a battery. So put that into perspective. I'm like not changing batteries. You're not running out of gas. Like they last long enough, good enough, right? And I think that's where I'm going with it. And I mean, where I'm trying to go is I'm trying to put solar panels on top of the roof into a charging bank so I can be like really
Right,
self-sufficient.
right. Yeah.
And what I was scared of at first was exchanging a gas bill for an electric bill. So like I'm not buying gas no more, but how much am I going to be
Sure.
putting out in electric bill? I've not even noticed a difference.
Really?
Like
Nice.
realistically, I've not noticed a difference. And I mean, I'm charging up 9 to 10 batteries every day. So that was one of my scary points on it, not wanting to exchange that. But I think
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I've kind of got to figure it out. I'm still going to do that charging bank inside, but that's several thousands, and this build has been pretty
Oh,
expensive
sure.
for right now. So
Yeah. Well,
that's
yeah,
just
I mean,
gonna,
you get one section of it done, and then you can kinda, work from
for
there, but, I
sure.
mean, it's because 'cause you'll realize those gains dramatically when it comes back to the back payment on that, and the simple things too, like guys on the crew, actually not having to worry about mixing gas, and did they do it a 40 to 1, 50 to 1, or did they do it, "Oops, I forgot."
Yep, exactly.
This
Or
gas
or
can was
you
the
have
right
the
one.
guys that just, "Well, yeah, I can wing it," and then, something's not working right. So that it, like, eliminates a lot of that. So as like a owner perspective, that helps me. So it's like you can't mess it up. You put the battery in and you go. It's not like you put straight gas in my backpack blower and now I blew the pistons. No, like that doesn't happen, but that's happened many of times. So
Yeah. Yeah, if you're out there thinking like, "Oh, it didn't happen on my cruise." Yeah, well, you might be
yeah,
mistaken
it
on there.
happens. Oh man, I just ran out of gas and I didn't have any more two cycles. So I just put a little bit of that little bit cost a lot.
Yeah.
So
Well,
there's no more.
especially, I mean,
There's
you
no.
got it down in Florida, it's not like you're in lower temperatures. I mean, not like it matters as much, but still, there's a difference between if you're using something that's a little bit light on the mix when it's 40 or 50 degrees out versus 80 or 90.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. And what I've been noticing in this electric trailer as I've been running it is the fumes. Like when you open up your trailer first thing in the morning, you're like, gotta air that thing out, because you got your sure cans along the side of the
yeah,
walls. You got 5 lawnmowers, and like you don't even need five, but you have five, and you have like 9 trimmer. I mean, that thing stinks.
yeah,
So
yeah.
with this, I mean, you just open it up. It's like pleasant to walk in. You can put a little air freshener up there and smells perfect. So that's like a huge benefit for me, and that's what I'm loving so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And were you skeptical at some point beforehand of moving? I mean, you mentioned obviously the trade-off of gas, the cost part of it, but have you been thinking about it for a while and you kinda held off, or did you just jump in?
So yeah, so I've been actually doing it behind closed doors for like 3 years. It started when I first went to Expo 3 years ago, and it started to implement those battery ones. It wasn't huge. It was majority gas, right? And then I did the Echo Challenge, where it's where you put the backpack blower on. You got to blow the ball into the hole, and then you trim those three hedges, run back. So I was like the fastest one that did it there. So they ended up sponsoring me and they gave me a backpack blower. So I was like, oh, that's cool. But then
Right on.
they're like, okay, who's this guy? Right. And so I came out last year in October and then I did the course again. So I won it again. And they're like, all right, hold on. Who are you? Where are you from? Whatever. So I got the hedge trimmer. So now I have a backpack blower and a hedge trimmer. And I'm like, okay, this is going somewhere. So then I went on to Marketplace and I found some cheap weed eaters, edgers, and a push mower. And I'm like, now I got a whole thing. So what do I do from there? So then I talked to my fiance. I'm like, I need a trailer because I just have all these electric products, but it's in my shed, and I don't want to
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
lug it back and forth. So then we ended up getting a trailer. And then I met up with my sign guy and he wrapped the trailer and then we put the racks in and then now it went fully built. Gravely gave us a long-term demo on their zero turns and their standers. So we literally have a full setup. And then now I got electric sprayers, I got electric chainsaws. I went and got the chainsaws, hedge trimmers, the longer hedge trimmer, the handheld hedge trimmer. I got another backpack blower. I got the pole saw. So literally we're going fully electric.
Yeah, that's the
And
first one I saw you on was the pole saw, and I was like, "Oh, he needs some DGP."
yep, yeah, yeah. When you seen that, I was like, oh man. And when you reached out, I didn't even know like these were things. That I
Absolutely.
was using the trimmer oil today. A little bit goes a long way. So literally
It
when you
does.
said that, I took that with a grain of salt. I'm like, okay, I do this all day. No, it does. In all of the bushes, I have videos of the bushes. I want to send you later. Literally, I just did the whole front of the Marriott, and it looks like Disney World.
Nice.
And I put that trimmer oil on there and it did phenomenally. So I definitely think that it helped out tremendously.
It's kind of interesting because there's so many things that we worry about with equipment, but that's one of the few things, that comes down to it, especially bar oil. We talk about it all the time. It's 100% loss, which means it's going everywhere in the environment. It's going on you. It's going, and I mean, it's going. Bar oil goes inside of you. A lot of people don't think about it because they think about the exhaust part, but they don't really think about the fact that when that bar heats up, especially with the petroleum side of things, if you've got a petroleum-based bar oil, it's atomizing as you're using it. As it heats up, it basically turns into a mist, more or less, and you're breathing that in. So even if you don't
Yeah.
know it, it's still happening,
Yeah.
and
And
then
you're
it's going
painted
all
with
over.
it too. You're
Exactly.
painted with it.
You
It'll
know,
shoot all over your legs and everything.
and that's a great thing for the clients too these days because, as you mentioned, you have this particular clientele who are looking for the battery tech to be, for the quieter and more environmentally conscious and things of that nature. The key selling point on the DGP product is great because you don't have to worry about, when it comes to price point, you don't even really have to worry about the price point on it because like when I work on any client's property, I have a line item in there that has bio oils or bio lubricants, and I charge, it's like $5, for a visit, and they're happy though because they see it and they ask about it, and it gives me an opportunity to explain what it is about them, and they educate them on what I'm doing about it, and they say, "Wow, that's a great. I didn't even know that was a thing that would happen." I didn't know that someone using a chainsaw on my property was just getting oil all over my plants and everything, my
Yeah.
trees and stuff. So
And I
it's an
was
educational process.
Yeah, and I was getting on I was thinking, I was like, "Man, so I've been, like, advertising, fully electric, zero carbon footprint as I've been putting this bar and chain oil in there, and, when I'm cutting
Right.
branches, I'm throwing that all over your yard, and there's nothing I can do about that." But it's like, I that's a selling point right there, you know?
Yeah, and
I'm
as far
using
as with the end user part of it too, it's, for you, like the maintenance side, nobody likes doing maintenance, right? Nobody likes having to come home after a hard day and do maintenance. With your bar and chain, like your pole saw and the other saws you have, it cuts cleaner and it cuts faster. The chain stays sharper longer because it doesn't have as much friction because there's less friction because of that higher smoke point. So,
Yeah, so you're
there's
saving money on change right there.
the labor involved on that side of it, on the sharpening, and you're not burning up bars. It's a win. It's a win for everybody. But
That's
that's
right.
that's why reaching out to guys like you who get it, right?
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
you
Yeah, I
know
was
what
so
we're
glad when
going
you
for.
reached out. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like you brought it to my attention, and I didn't even like that's something that's just slipped my mind, And I'm new to this fully electric thing, so I'm super stoked that I caught you at the beginning. So I think I've only ran one thing of oil through it so far. So once I get that in there, clean it out, we should be good to go.
Yeah, you'll notice a difference, and well, and that's the other nice thing about it too is that you can put it right on top, so you don't have to worry about flushing it out or anything. You can just put it right on top of it and keep on running. So
Perfect,
it's
perfect.
it mixes well for that. But so when you were talking about the Echo means business advisory group and everything. What made you keen to get into that as far as becoming into that kind of a mentorship role? I mean, I mean, obviously, you've grown your business quite a bit from what it was to now what it is now, and you've got your teammates and everything. But what part of you is that educator part? Have you always kind of been that way, or is it something new to you?
Yeah, so I love helping people. I've always been the helper. Obviously, I told you guys earlier I was working for Publix, and I learned a lot of customer service roles in that. I was a customer service manager actually, so I just dealt with people day to day, and I just loved helping. I always, I open door policy. You can come talk to me at any given time. Uh, I'm here to help. When I didn't even start social media till like 15 months ago. It was from October to October till now, so about 18 months. So I just started it, and then I started to gather this following base, and then I started to join it, and start posting tips and tricks, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And then you'll see other people posting tips and tricks, but they're wrong, and then it's like, okay, I love that for you, but you're doing it wrong. And I just wanted to like come out and say, hey, this is how you actually do it, and there's a reason for that. For instance, there might be a little sneak peek of a video coming out of spark arresters, and
Mm,
that's
yeah,
to
that's a big one.
clean. Yeah, so take your spark arrestor out, take the torch, get that nasty stuff out, put it back in, put your muffler back on. But there's a lot of people making videos, pull it off, take your spark arrestor out, throw it away, put it back down. But there's a reason that
Yeah.
spark arrestor is
Yep.
there. There's actually laws that you have to have that in there in certain states and cities. It's for your protection. It stops the sparks from flying out of your engine. Like, I get that you want to take it out so it unclogs your machine, but there's a way to clean it properly to put it back in. So I'll be
Yeah.
putting a
Yeah.
video out about that soon. But it's just like little things and tips and tricks like that. I just love to like give my knowledge out. And a lot of people say, "Oh, you're wrong," or "You're right," or the perception can vary. But I just love giving back, and I love helping people. I want to be the one, like, if you need help, I want you to feel like you can reach out to me, and I'm always reply. I've never not replied to one single person. And like if you comment on it, I'll comment back. And it's starting to get a little bit more. And I mean, we're just growing to 12,000 followers. And just last month I got 600,000 views. So it's like
Nice.
it's going crazy. But
Yeah.
what I want is I want to be able to give advice. I don't want like the drama. I don't want the bickering or the back and forth. Here I am. I want to give you my input on what I think is right. I want to help everybody. If let me help you, you help me. Let's do this together, kind of thing. So that's kind of
Yeah.
what I've done with my Instagram and kind of just blown it up like that, and it's done great. So I
Speaking
can't
of,
really complain.
before we go continue on with the conversation, how can people find you and follow you and all those options?
Instagram is at Lawn Express Lawn Care, and Facebook is Lawn Express Lawn Care LLC. You can find us on both of those platforms, and I would love your follow.
And for all of those listening to this on the podcast version, I will have, if you look at the in the notes of the podcast, you will see the follows as far as the usernames and everything for Tristan there as well. So look up those. But what keeps you in the industry? I mean, you said when you were 14, I started kind of the same. I was thinking I was about 13, 14 years old, and it was, I was wanting to make money, obviously, make some pocket money. But what keeps you into it going, as long as you have so far?
I just love it, and I really do. I mean that. So like when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I've had customers. I think I've had her for 11 years now. I've had customers, and it's just building that relationship. You don't have that in any job. I don't get told when to take my lunch break. I don't get told when I have to go to work or when I have to clock out. I can just basically do whatever I want. I mean, obviously, there's a structure to it, and you got to stick to that. So you got to find that fine line. But once you find that fine line and you just get it narrowed down, and then you get your route density to where you're actually like making money and a profit, it's just awesome because I can travel with my family at any given time. I can take a meeting like this at any given time. If you wanted to do it at 2 o'clock, I can because I make my own decisions, and being able to be in control of my schedule and control of my finances. Like if I need to make money, I know I can just go out there and go make that, and I've grown this amazing company with some of my best friends, and it's been awesome.
And they're still best friends?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Even after today when he popped my tire on the mower, still best friends.
Oh, pop his tire. So,
Yep.
what is your strategy, your game plan for the future for your company? I mean, are you looking at continuing to expand, adding other venues? I mean, what all services do you provide when it comes to your Lawn Express at the moment?
So right now, our main one is lawn maintenance. So like your mow, weedy, edge blow maintenance, like that. We do roof blow offs, gutter clean outs, pressure washing, leaf removals. We do mulch installs, rock installs, landscape installs. You name it, we do it. We just don't go inside of the house. So basically, anything outside. And we also have another company of a hauling and junk removal business because the lawn business started to become too much of that, and we had
I
to
got
like
you.
separate it. So it's like, hey, hey, while you're here cutting the lawn, can you haul away this mattress? That used to be cool until now it's not.
Sure.
so that's where we kind of do that on that aspect. So we have like a dump trailer, and we have a Jeep that pulls that around, and then we have our gas division, and then we have our fully electric division that we just
Gotcha.
opened like 2 weeks ago. And
Well, it's
so
good
yeah,
that
I mean
you
the
split that,
goal is, yeah, the
You should.
goal is to unclutter my front yard. I think that's my next goal. So I'm going to buy a piece of property to store all my trucks and trailers, because right now they're literally lined up at the front of my house. And it's funny because like people will reach out to me. They'll be like, "Hey, can we come do a shop tour?" I'm like, "My front yard's great. I mean, I'll give you a Coke, whatever. You come visit visit the trailers, walk through, do a tour, but I don't really have a shop." So I think that's probably going to be my next goal, is find like a little piece of land with like a little trailer or something. Just park all the trucks and trailers there, so I don't have to keep dealing with this. The neighbors don't probably love it, but I think that's my next goal. But yeah, I mean, eventually I would love to open up another truck and trailer. And if this electric does good, I'll open up another electric. But if it doesn't do as good, I'll probably open up another gas, because that's what we're all used to. But I mean, the goal is to blow up the electric division and keep going that route and see where it takes us.
Yeah, I think you're well, and with being in an area where you are, I think some guys might be hesitant to it more so because of where they're at. It seems because some of the people that I know who've been more hesitant with the electric have been in areas where they're only getting like 7 or 8 months of mow season, and landscaping season. Whereas with you being in Florida, where it's pretty much year round, it gives you a lot more ability to utilize that equipment, because I think that's people get scared a little bit scared of that initial investment, knowing that
Yep.
they're only using it for a certain amount of time, but
Yeah.
you've got a little bit more on that, and being in an area where it is nice weather means that you can with electric, you can start earlier, right? You can
Yep.
if you need to start
Yep.
earlier in the day, you're okay because no one hears you outside their window.
Exactly. And then like we just did a time change because it was getting like dark at 5 o'clock. So now it gets dark at like 6:30. Now it's gonna be going on to 7. But like there's days where it's dark at like 5:30 and you're still like trying to finish that last yard.
Mhm.
So now with the electric, if I got that little push mower, I'm good to go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
So
Nice. What would your advice be for the guys out there who have seen it they're struggling a bit, maybe they've been in it, maybe it's their 1st year, 2nd year, but they're trying to find their way and they're just like, "Man, what is going on? Why isn't this, kicking off the way that I was anticipating it to?"
So just don't rush the process. And what I mean by that is don't go out there and buy the top of the line mower thinking it's going to bring you customers because it's not. Just use what you have. Like I told you guys earlier, I used my dad's push mower and weed eater and edger. I had to do our yard, so I might as well do the neighbor's yard. So I just
Yeah.
started with that, and then I would literally start push mowing yards on the street, and then I got a Honda Civic and I worked out of the back of that. And it's just you only need something to get you from A to B. You don't need the prettiest mower. It might take you a little bit longer, but you can charge for the quality cuts, and you just work with what you have, go slow and just build your empire. Don't lose faith and just love what you do. Everything happens for a reason. If I get a flat tire, I thank God. Maybe there could have been an accident that I should have been involved in, but I got a flat tire. So there's things that happen
Sure,
to all of us
sure.
and everything breaks.
Yeah.
Everything's break and it's going to break. They make things to break. So don't get too stressed out. Just use what you have and just go from there and figure out if you love it. And then once you get too overwhelmed, then you can get a little stander, you know? And then you can get your bigger zero turn. But just start with what you have.
Yeah, and there's never a good time for something to break down because it only breaks down when you're using it, that's how it works.
Yep. And it only breaks down when you need it.
Right?
It'll always work for
It's
your
not gonna
buddy
break
to
down in the
use.
trailer, it breaks down when you're actually using it.
Yep. For sure. For sure. But
But
yeah,
no,
that's just
it's a great point, man, because I think too many guys try and go too big too fast and get saddled with all that debt because they want that, amazing piece of machinery that costs as much as their car.
exactly. Like I've been in business for 10 years. I started it when I was 18. I'm now 29, so like 11 years. But I just now got my second trailer. Just now. So it's like, just go slow with it. Make sure that when the time is right, the time is right and you'll know it. You don't have to rush it.
Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah, it's rather than trying to anticipate business levels, wait a little bit longer until the business levels are actually coming and you see those, because nobody has a crystal ball in this industry and is able to predict
Nope.
exactly what's gonna happen.
Nope. And
That
it
is for
does
sure.
not matter what color your mower is, and it doesn't matter what that sign says on the side of it either. It matters about your dealer,
The
your
logo
dealer,
matters? What?
your dealer. I mean, I run Toros. That's what I love, Toros. But I went Toro because of my dealer recommended me to go that route. And I started with just a piece of junk, time cutter 42, the cheapest one they make. And then I eventually, just last year, I just got my grandstand. And that grandstand does all those nice stripes and whatever. But I mean, you can do that with anything. So it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
just
absolutely.
about just about timing. You just got to do it right.
Yeah, I can't stress enough, having a good dealer is one of the key components of having a good business and a successful business. Like you just said, whichever doesn't matter whatever equipment that is that they are dealing, if you have one who is solid and who will back you up with whatever's happening, it doesn't really matter
That's
what
what
you're
matters.
buying.
Yep.
It's you gotta have that for sure. Now, when you said you've got a lot of your good friends working with you in your company, how do you balance that as an owner? How do you balance that, the friendship and then the employee side of things?
So it's actually funny. So Justin, my foreman, you guys have seen him. He was actually working with me at Publix
I
10
know.
years ago. Me and him, so I graduated high school in 2015. I came down to Tampa in 2016, and then I started working for Publix. So me and Justin met in 2016. So 10 years ago. So I was his boss. And then
That's
I left, and then I started this, and then he left, and then he's like, "Yo, let me join you." And I'm like, "It's a match made in heaven. Let's go." So we've
nice.
always had that level of respect. I don't ever believe that I'm above anybody. I believe that I'm right there beside everybody. You are my partner in this. and I don't ever make my guys do anything that I'm not willing to do. So if I don't feel comfortable doing something, I'll never make my guys do that. And that's just kind of the relationship we've always had. I put myself into their shoes. I look from their point of view, and if I'm looking at the schedule, I'm like, man, there's 19 yards on this list. Like I wouldn't want to do that by myself either. So I will take four off of his schedule. You can do 15. I'll take four more. I'm only doing nine, so I'll do 13 while you do 14. So it works out, and me and him have always kind of done this together. And he's been in and out, and now he works for me full time, and it's been a pleasure having Justin.
That's awesome. Well, what is your favorite part of this? I mean, you came from a customer service type background going into it, so obviously you're customer focused and like that hospitality part. But what is it about this industry that you love most on a day-to-day basis?
I get to control it. That's probably my favorite part. Like, let's say my fiance wants to do something on Monday. I can, and I can just I can make sure that my yards get done throughout the week. Or, the financial part of it. If I needed a surgery to get hurt, or if I got hurt, I had the money to be able to fix it. Or just, to be able to just just to live your own life. You don't have a boss. Hey, you need to be there at 6 o'clock. You can't do that. Or hey, you need to take a break at this time, or you need to do this, or you have to work extra this, or I've dealt with that. Or like, at like my corporate job, it was, hey, we need you to work 5 extra hours today, but we're not going to pay you overtime, so you're going to lose 5 hours on Friday, so you're going to go home early. Like, no, no, I like to control my schedule, so it's literally the controlling aspect of it. Is I get to live my own life the way that I want to. If I want to build a company bigger, I can build it bigger. It's fully up to me.
Well, and something that I saw too that I was really impressed by that I love and to see and want to see more of is the you had posted recently about I don't know if it was an install fully or if it looked like because you were doing redoing bed edges and everything. Maybe you can speak to a little bit as far as what all it encompassed, but
Oh,
at
at West Shore Elementary.
the school, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's another thing is I love to give back, and I love to be given hand. So West Shore Elementary actually wrote on like one of our, it's called South of Gandy page, and they just reached out, was like, hey, just looking for some volunteers to come by the school to help, give back. So we started that back in January. So January we were helping them. I went and trimmed up their trees, spreaded some mulch, and we did all that and helped out the school because they're a low financial school.
Okay.
So they're like a low income school. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they just needed some help. So we all kind of got together, and then we got the church involved, and then we got the Tampa Garden Club involved, and it became this like huge organization. And then Site One ended up donating some plants and some materials, and then it ended up. So I went over there. I got all the beds redefined for them, and then we had a bunch of volunteers come in, install a bunch of plants. It was an incredible thing that we were able to do, and just give back to the community. And those kids deserve it. Those kids are just kids. They deserve a better place to play and to learn in. And that's another thing is I'm trying to actually pick them up onto my schedule, just like I did the hotels, for that quiet. They don't need to be listening to the lawnmowers distracting them in the classrooms. So I'm trying to pick them up, and the school board's actually loving that idea. So
Oh
we're
yeah,
going to be
absolutely.
hopefully picking them up on that, and taking a little bit better care of the properties, because I don't know whomever is taking care of it. I mean, it's just they'll just mow it and then they'll just leave, and it's just like
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
what?
it looked like I mean, some of the work you were doing, 'cause I had, again, I see that, come across the post about it, and that was the part I remember most was the redefining the edges, 'cause I was the same thought was going through my head is like, was anybody taking care of it before? Because it seemed like I mean, it was like, how far back do you have to go to refine that edge?
It was far, and it was just like, no, they don't even weed eat, they don't edge, they don't even blow off the property. So
Wow,
it's
okay.
like, yeah, so they're just like literally running this one big mower across this field, and that's what the kids get, and that's not fair to them. So I'm trying to pick that up and just transform that whole school back.
Well, so another question I had for you as the business owner side of it when you're dealing financially with things, but you're still trying to take care of people in that way. How do you ride that line? This is something I was actually talking with a good friend of mine who's been in the industry for quite a while, and we were talking about that line, between empathy and sympathy, where where you're saying like, "Oh, I understand, like, I won't charge you as much this time, or the cut's free this time, or this is this," how do you, in your, because obviously you have a giving nature. So how do you find yourself basically able to kind of pull back a little bit and go, "Okay, I'm also a businessman. I need to take care of this too."
Yeah. So if someone ever like comes to me and asks me for something, that's not usually when I do it. It's usually when I find it organically. So it's like if I'm at this property and I'm doing this job and the next door needs this to make my job that I'm already doing look better.
Gotcha.
For instance, the palm tree job, that one like blew up over like I think it's at 530,000 views right now. But it's I was already it was on the border and I was doing his side and he's like, "Oh, don't touch that side." I'm like, "Well, I can't do that." And he's like,
My
"Dude,
name is on this job, sir. I can't.
yeah, he's like, "Dude, she's mean as can be." And I'm like, "Well, everybody's mean if for a reason, you know?" So I just went over there and said, "Hey, I just, just out of kindness of my heart, I'm already doing this side. I would love to do this side just to make my work not look like it's half done." And she's like, "Well, you're gonna charge me for free?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." And I ended up doing her other palms for her for free. And it was just the right time, the right moment that I was there. And this other one, West Shore Elementary, I was scrolling on Facebook. This is my community, this is my community school. This is the local elementary school we're talking about. So when I found that organic, I'm like, this is something's telling me that this is where you need to. If you like, hey, just blew my $50 yesterday, could you come mow it for free? That's never the case. So it's just basically whenever I find something organically, something comes to my attention that, maybe they're like maybe God's testing me, hey, here's the situation. How are you going to react? And those are the situations that I usually help out in. And that's where I love to.
Yeah, that makes sense, and it's good that you're able to have that, because, there's a lot of guys in there, especially those guys that are starting out, "Oh, I don't wanna charge too much," or "I don't wanna do this, don't wanna do that," and that's great. I mean, it's good that you're a nice person when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, but still business is business, and you have
Yeah,
to be
absolutely.
able to
And it's
balance
like,
those.
there's a lot of guys that do free cuts, but they get paid for their videos. I've never gotten paid a cent on one of my videos. Don't even know how. That's not what I'm trying to do. I just am trying to blow up and just show everybody some tips and tricks and let's hang out and have a good time in this green industry and let's all, I want to push as many people to start their own landscape company. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I love what I do. I never hate it. I wake up, can't wait to go to work. The before, during, and after the satisfaction is just that's what keeps me going. And then the customers, all of the little cute old ladies, they come out and they're happy as can be, and that's what makes my day. I want somebody to come out and just, man, this was, hey, I noticed you did this. Thank you so much. I didn't even ask you. Yeah, I always treat my customers' yards like it's mine. So if I'm going to stand in my own backyard and I want that to be looking a certain way, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to leave your crack weeds because you didn't sign up for the subscription. I'm just going to take care of it. And that's who I am, and before I like a lot of people say, do you mow the yard first and then weed eat, or do you weed eat and then mow? Well, I don't do either. I start with the blower first, actually, and I go and around my whole properties and I blow all their beds out into the yards, and then I mow the yard and then I mulch it all up.
Mm,
So now
uh-huh.
you've had a free leaf removal that I didn't have to haul off, and I maintain it every week, so it's never a buildup. And like the videos that you guys see of the leaf removals, those are new customers. Hey, can you get my yard back to where it needs to be? And then let's get on your maintenance schedule. Well, it'll never look like that when I'm maintaining it. So I have to have a cleanup fee and then a
Yeah, that's a good
maintenance
point.
fee. And then so how I always start my yards, backpack blowers. I blow out all of the beds, then I mow, and then I edge, then I weed eat, and then I re-blow. And then your yard, you have no leaves in your yards in the beds. You have no buildup in the beds, so you don't have any weeds coming up from all that. Your yards just all look amazing. And people are like, wow, you really took time and you really paid attention to detail. Well, if you just started, if you blew out all the beds first, then you would have no leaves because you put the mulching decks on there for a reason. And make sure that you clean your decks every week on Fridays. So mine is on Friday, so that way on Monday I
Sure.
have a fresh thing.
Yeah.
And sharpen your blades weekly. It chops up those leaves perfectly. Sorry, and it's your customers will love you, and your customers are your family. And it's like I always love saying this. Your biggest supporter is a stranger, and that's just the hard honest
That is
truth.
true. That is very true.
But if you take care of that lady's yard and you start by blowing out her beds and she never has leaves, and then come fall she's like, oh, I don't have a leaf removal now. Well, yeah, maybe I'm a little bit more expensive than the $20-$30 guys, but you won't have a $500 cleanup of leaves since I've just been maintaining them weekly. So that's what I try to do with all my customers, is just to take care of them. And I just love what I do, and I don't ever feel right like when something's not 100%. So that's why, when I'm doing that palm, I have to do the other side, but I can't go on her property without her permission. So if she said no, then I would have to. But I knew that at that point it wasn't my fault. I at least did my part, and I asked and I did the initiative and tried to make it right. So and that's when those cases pay off
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
for
Well, and
sure.
it comes around. It always comes around.
Yep,
It's a matter of knowing that when you do it with good intention, you'll be okay in the end. Something will come through with it. So,
for
um,
sure, for sure.
so you had mentioned Equip Expo a couple of times. I've known, of course, I know guys that go every year, but I also know guys who are like, well, I don't really go to trade shows because I can just look up stuff online if I want to research some things and stuff. What's your advice for guys who are like, why should they go to a trade show like
100%,
Expo?
100% have to go. Just being around fellow landscapers is just where, I mean, even if the show had zero tools, if we were to just be able to come together, talk with each other, motivate each other, love each other, spread the word, just help each other with tips and tricks, that is the best part about it. And then they have after parties, they have concerts, you get to bring your family, you get to try out all of the mowers. I told you, it doesn't matter what it says on the side of the mower, but you get to try every single mower. You get to see what your favorite one is. One of my favorite ones last year was the Clipper mower. Have you seen those?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They're joysticks.
yeah.
Yeah, so
I haven't used one, but I've seen them though. Yeah.
yeah, so you get to demo those. It's a joystick, so you don't have those two arms that move back to back. It's a joystick, so that was really cool to drive. The Echo booth is amazing. You get to use the chainsaws, the backpack blowers, the weed eaters, the edgers. They have every single piece of equipment out there. They have the robotics, they have the electric push mowers, the gas push mowers, the electric chainsaws, gas chainsaws. I mean, it's just an amazing event that you have to go to. They have key speakers. They have I mean, it's just an amazing event you have to go to. Every single time I've gone, it was just an incredible event. You get free hats. I have hats for the rest of the year. You get shirts, you get merchandise. You can talk to like owners of companies and see like the new inventions. Yeah, you can look up what a Toro grandstand is, but did you know there's an attachment that goes to the end of your leaf blower that actually multiplies the force? Well, that's something that you wouldn't have been able to research unless you went. And
Exactly.
that the Cyclone 3X, that thing is awesome. You put that thing on the end of your leaf blower and it blows twice as hard. So that's one thing that's super neat that you would have never, it's like a little niche product that you would never have known about unless you went to that event. So everybody's different, everybody's needs are different, but that one place has enough needs to satisfy everybody's. So definitely you have to go, definitely go check it out. If you're going to go to at least one, definitely make it the Equip.
Before we head out of here, how can folks find you again on your socials?
At On Instagram at Lawn Express Lawn Care, and then on Facebook, Lawn Express Lawn Care LLC.
And just a reminder for you folks, I will have this down in the description area. I'll have those links for you too to be able to check those out. But Tristan, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to, obviously we're going to be talking a lot more. But thank you so much for taking the
Absolutely.
time.
Thank you so much, Russell, for sure.
Thank you for everyone listening and or watching to Lubrication Across the Nation. Once again, sponsored by DGP. That's Dynamic Green Products. Check them out at changeroil.com. Bio-based, zero compromise, and go follow Lawn Express Lawn Care. You gotta make it happen, folks. Make it happen. Until next time, we are out of here.